Hello everyone. Hello Dr. Michael Laitman. Hello. We're continuing our series of talks, spiritual states, and our topic for today, the shattering of the vessels. Vessels, meaning our desires. And today we'll try to find out what is the shattering and what desires, because we don't exactly feel that our desires are broken or shattered. And since these are spiritual states and they're unrelated to time or space, so the first question, what is the shattering of the vessels? Vessels, kelim in Hebrew. It's a concept, Kabbalistic concept, so let's leave it as is. Kelim meaning desires. Please. So there are desires. Man has many of them, different kinds. The main desire that includes all other desires in it is the desire to receive pleasure, fulfill yourself. That's the main desire, or man's ego. That's A. B is that these desires, to different extents, exist in every person, obviously, and every person is governed precisely by his desires and the ability to fulfill them. Then, the desires that we're born with, they're absolutely egoistic. We see it starting with little children and ending with practically all the people in the world. Only that a little child takes nothing into account. He yells, shouts, demands to fulfill his desires, and grown-up people, they already understand that they can't do absolutely everything and fulfill their desires, possibly at the expense of others, and others maybe don't completely agree with it. And so what arises are problems, conflicts, because we constantly want to fulfill our desires. And the surrounding world, the people around us, and in general, everything around us, everything surrounding us, maybe don't agree with it. So the desire of a person to fulfill himself, fulfill his ego, his desire, always encounters some kind of limitation or even contradiction from those surrounding him, from the surroundings, from the people around him. So we all the time try to understand, how can we fulfill ourselves such that we won't get refusal, rejection from others? So the shattered desire is a desire that is not fulfilled. Right, now the desires can be such that I fulfill myself, that I want to fulfill myself and do. These are egoistic desires in practice, and these desires exist in everyone, but not always can you realize them, and therefore a person suffers because he can't fulfill his desires, realize them. And also there is the desire to fulfill yourself, which is realized in the action of bestowal, through the action of bestowal. Meaning if I, for example, love someone, then my external actions can be actions of bestowal and not reception. But by it, I receive pleasure, I fulfill myself, we give a present to someone who we love, etc. But still, it's not bestowal, but reception. By that I actually fulfill myself. I do these presents for myself, for my own sake and not for others. To give a present to another, to bestow upon another without getting anything in return, without fulfilling my ego, is impossible. In our world, it is impossible. Now, the wisdom of Kabbalah exists in order to teach us how to fulfill another without getting anything in return. But here, there are many different conditions. It's a complicated science. This is how I put it. The desire to receive pleasure, this is how it's gradated in us. Into the desire to receive, the desire to bestow, to receive for myself, to receive for the sake of another, to bestow to another, and to bestow in order to delight myself. So the state itself of the shattering, can you explain it? So, when or if the desire to delight oneself for the sake of another appears in a person, then such a desire is actually not forbidden by anyone and is even encouraged by people, because in that a person doesn't think about himself and doesn't do for himself but for the sake of others. So if such a desire, a complete whole desire, if it suddenly inverts from the desire to receive for another to the desire to receive for yourself, then this kind of change in intention is called shattering. So the process where I can't fulfill myself or where I receive pleasure for my own sake, meaning an egoistic desire is a shattered desire, right? It's also said that the purpose of the shattering, it's said that it happened in the spiritual worlds, and its purpose is to mix between the qualities, the attributes of the Creator and the created being. So the shattering happened, as I already tried to explain, when the desire had the intention not for itself, but for the sake of another, and suddenly that intention changed into for your own sake. This kind of change in intention is called a fall, shattering of the desire. And in order for us to correct it, for that, we need a very special upper force that can change the intention of the desire over the desire from the intention to receive for yourself to the intention to give to others. When did the shattering happen on the axis of time? The process of the shattering occurred in the beginning of creation, meaning before man appeared. We can say in the beginning of the creation of man, there was a desire for the sake of others that went through a shattering and inverted the desire into for your own sake. So these are potential states. Yeah, meaning a person has to reveal all of these things yet. Meaning we're not studying history here. No, there's no history. Everything is in that same desire. So it's above time, space, it's all embedded in us. Like our entire world is. It's somewhere in our genes, and at some point it needs to become revealed. Yeah. That in a person there will appear the ability to receive not for his own sake. So first of all, to understand that there is such a state, explore it, and then to receive not for your own sake. What's the catch here in receiving not for your own self? It means that I use all of my possibilities, opportunities to fulfill others. And when all people work this way, when they fulfill each other, and turns out that they're completely interconnected, generating one natural common desire, and in that desire, the upper force becomes revealed, and each in particular and all together attain that upper force and exist on its level of wholeness, perfection, eternity. Isn't it egoistic? I mean, I just heard from you that I want to reveal this force, and for that I need now not to receive for myself. Well, we're headed toward that. The upper force governs us. And from our state, where we're completely interconnected, where we're connected with each other, interconnected, and we receive only for the sake of others and the Creator, each of us, then in that is the purpose of our creation and correction. And the mixing, the merging of the desires of the Creator and the created being, I understand that on a certain level the created being only received. Then the altruistic qualities of the Creator mixed with the egoistic qualities of the created being, and that caused the shattering. Right, that caused the shattering, meaning that desire which received for the sake of others, meaning in order to pass through it all the upper abundance pleasure, started to receive for itself without passing it through others. Can we say that in our world this shattering is realized in that each person today can not only receive but can also give? Of course, but with the egoistic intention, and thanks to that we have some kind of connection between us. Otherwise there would have been no connection. It's like little children, they have no contact between them. Right, they don't feel, don't understand each other. In order to take something or give something, you need to feel the other. Next question. The shattering of the vessels of our desires. This is actually a Kabbalistic concept. Many of those who read the Pentateuch and the Bible, they understand the language they use there. Well, actually, it's very simple. If I have a desire for the sake of others, to the benefit of others, then that desire is considered purposeful, whole, complete, if that desire is directed towards myself, which as a rule is against others, then it's called shattered. And the sin of the first man, of Adam, that is the shattering of the vessel, yeah, this is what it's about. That all those desires that were in that prototype of man, it's practically a desire not yet dressed in our protein bodies, then that desire was only in order to bestow. And as a result of different actions that were made over it, it turned into the desire in order to receive, and that is the shattering of Adam. So Adam is a system, that's our desires. Right, it was one desire, and when suddenly it started to feel itself consisting of many elements, it broke, shattered, meaning each desire out of which this one desire consists of started to want to receive for itself, and that is actually the sin, the shattering of Adam. Well, just to understand, the apple, he ate the apple, and occurred the sin. What does it have to do with an apple? Well, nothing actually. But still, that's what it says in the story. Well, that's in order to feel it on something, one's desire to receive pleasure. Okay, we'll explore it later some more. So, the sin of Adam is the language of emotions, and the shattering of the vessels, this is a Kabbalistic technical language. Right, it's the same, only explained in different languages. So, as I understand Kabbalists, they revealed in a natural way, in nature, this Kabbalistic language, these terms, in order for a person not to have any other associations. Meaning, for our generation, that's the right language, because otherwise I can imagine to myself Adam eating an apple and something happening, and it deflects me from the right picture. No, of course, today no one believes in it or can believe it. It's completely unrealistic. But once people believed in it, I don't know, maybe even today someone believes in it. Yeah, but it's a special language, it's a code. Actually, yes, Kabbalists, through such stories, explain the innermost, most complicated laws of interaction in nature. You also write that there's thanks to the shattering, there's the ability to build the middle line. There's the right line, left line, and the middle line, which man himself builds. So the right and left lines, they hold in themselves some great danger. When they connect between them, there is a short circuit. So necessarily there has to be the middle line. Yeah. If the light connects without a screen, then there's the shattering of the vessels, if you can explain that. Well, it's just like in our world, short circuit, when the force of bestowal or giving and the force of reception, if they connect with each other, then in our world, we don't see that something so horrible happens. But if it is forbidden, according to the spiritual laws, to receive for yourself, and this kind of reception for yourself, which happens in the short-circuiting of the right and left lines, the plus and the minus, that brings about a short circuit, then that burns the system. What is the middle line inside the person? The middle line inside the person is man's soul. If a person would have short-circuited the right and left lines inside himself, then this way he would have burned the foundation of his soul that is meant for development, and he would have burned it. If we look at what happens in society in general, there are the rightists, leftists. When they connect between them, we see that there needs to be something in between, because otherwise immediately break out conflicts, wars. We see it throughout history. These two lines, they as if short-circuit each other. There needs to be something between them. In society, what can that be? Inside the person, it's clear. In society, there need to be laws that would help a person, that would raise him, educate him, teach him in such a way that he'll think only about society and not about himself. And then in that case, all of his actions would have been beneficial and encouraged by society, and correspondingly he would have received a reward. And if he couldn't act to the benefit of society, but only for his own sake, then he'd get a punishment. And the reward and punishment that he would have received from the right, proper society around him would have taught him, educated him. So if inside the person the middle line is as if the screen, an anti-egoistic force that allows him inside himself to absorb these two natural qualities, the natural egoistic quality of receiving everything for himself, and the altruistic one that starts to appear in him, which is already a part of the Creator. Right. So that's the screen, and in society there need to be laws. In the right society, there need to be laws that could balance out these two forces. Yeah. And also, do I correctly understand that precisely hate appears in the shattering of the desires? How does it appear? The hate, meaning each wants to exploit the others, to enjoy at the expense of others. This is a result of the shattering of those vessels still in the spiritual world. Right. Also, you write that there are inner kelim and external ones, and between them passes this borderline of the shattering, meaning thanks to these external and internal vessels existing in me, I feel that outside of me there are certain people, society, etc., and there are desires inside of me. My desires, of course, I fulfill them. I'm always willing to fulfill them, and the external ones, they seem external, and I only use them to my own benefit. Right. And this picture is due to the shattering of the vessels. Right. When the general desire shattered, broke, it revealed in us these different kinds of division into mine and yours. Meaning at first the entire picture was that a person felt everything inside himself, that everything belongs to him. That's Adam HaRishon. Right, that it's all his. And then it divided into mine and the exterior, not mine. And appeared the ego as a result of there being something that's mine and something that isn't. And that's thanks to the shattering. Right. And the desire to receive everything that is not mine for myself as well. So, mine, naturally, I have the ability to fulfill it, and this is what I work on all day long. on fulfilling myself, and what's not mine, what I see outside of myself, naturally I see it as someone else's, and I can't understand why do I need to do something for them. Meaning I can contact with them somehow, but only in order to exploit them, that's it. And here the question is, you're right that precisely by changing your attitude toward these exterior desires, kelim, I acquire the ability to once again come back to the state of Adam. And what will that give me? You will be able to feel the entire world as yours, and yourself as the entire world. And this way, you will have no division to mine and not mine, someone else's, myself and someone else, strangers, but you'll feel yourself in absolute connection with the whole of creation. You write that if I will be able to relate to these exterior desires, kelim, that are revealed in our world as people, the still vegetative animate, the very same way I relate to my inner desires, where I always stand guard in order to satisfy them, then in that, the Creator will reveal Himself. Right. How so? If I start treating them that way, then the Creator appears. The Creator is called the general force of love, of bestowal, of fulfillment, that the whole of creation is filled with, the entire world. But why is it revealed specifically in this way? If I'll start treating others, the exterior kelim, the same way I treat my own, you write that. Suddenly, in that appears the Creator. Right? Then you'll feel that external force that acts beneficially to fulfill the entire world, all beings, and that force is called the Creator. I'll put it differently. In another place, another post, you write that in that I start feeling those exterior kelim, I start understanding that that's my soul and what I feel today. This world inside myself, these little small desires that I fulfill, it's just like a small dot. Right. Everything that we feel in reception is that little black egoistic point, dot, and what we feel in bestowal is the soul. And Kabbalists call this principle love another as yourself. When I start relating to the exterior kelim the very same way I relate to my own desires, then that's called the principle of love another as yourself, written in all the textbooks and excerpts, etc. Right. Last question. I still don't get it. How is it related to the Creator? Why does the Creator become revealed there? The Creator is simply called the general force of love and bestowal that fulfills the whole of creation, and it's felt only to the measure of equivalence of form with Him, with that force. Meaning the exterior kelim are like a laboratory where I can reveal the efforts to show, meaning that I really want to bestow. Right. That I'm willing to acquire the quality of the Creator. Yes. Because were the entire world to exist inside of me, like it says in the book of Zohar, then I couldn't reveal it. You couldn't come out of yourself. It would have seemed to me that, yeah, I bestow, I'm in bestowal already. You bestow to whom if the entire world's inside of you? And here it turns out that the world exists outside of me. It's like a laboratory. Okay, that's clear. And all this is thanks to the shattering of the vessels. Thanks to the shattering of the desire, the egoistic desire of Adam, that as a result, after this shattering starts to acknowledge that there's the quality of bestowal, the quality of reception, and even though that the understanding that previously fulfilled him before the shattering dissipates, meaning the Creator disappears from his world, the so-called sin of Adam, of the first man. But thanks to that, he has acquired now the ability himself, to bestow, to receive, to act independently, so that out of these two options of his, he builds the creator, creates the creator inside himself, meaning makes himself similar to the creator. Well, it's not that complicated, actually. Pretty simple stuff. Yeah, everyone will study this, learn these things. It will be accessible to everyone. It will be accessible. Everyone will study these things, and everyone will have to realize it on themselves. Meaning, it's not the privilege of Jews or someone. No. Every man has to. As it says, and all shall know me from small to great. Thank you very much. Spiritual states. Today we talked about the shattering of the vessels. Till next time, all the best.